Despite being a super controversial figure on social media, Jordan Peterson is famous for all the right reasons. His fans and followers love him for his logical and factual approach to various societal problems. And even though he's a really cool and composed character, there have been many moments when the father of the internet almost lost it. Keep watching this video as we talk about some of Jordan Peterson's angriest moments and best comebacks. First up, get your facts right. Jordan Peterson is known for burying people with his amazing factual knowledge. He never says anything he can't prove, and that's one of the reasons why his interviews and conversations end up getting so intensely heated. When an interviewer told Mr. Peterson that she's interested in seeing everyone having equal opportunities, including equality of outcome, you could tell it was about to get really bad. If there's one thing you don't do in front of the Mike Tyson of psychology, it's talk about the equality of outcome. Peterson just blasted the interviewer with fact after fact, to the point that she just awkwardly started staring at a piece of paper in front of her, thinking, what have I gotten myself into? To be fair, we wouldn't say something like he overreacted, because it's a really sensitive and pressing issue. Also, you have to understand that with Dr. Jordan being a clinical psychologist, arguments and debates like these must really bother him, so that sort of reaction is justified in our opinion. And in case you haven't seen the interview yet, we'd advise you to go check it out. It's just a small glimpse into the brilliant mind of Peterson and how he's able to dissect such major societal issues and give them an entirely new and different perspective. Next, don't corner me, son. We've gone down the YouTube rabbit hole a lot of times, and if there's one thing we've learned, it's that you never try to play games with a psychologist. They will be on you from the very start, and as soon as you think you're being really slick, they'll call you out and wreck you. That's exactly what Jordan Peterson did to a young interviewer, trying to corner him into making a mistake. You can almost tell when things get serious. The entire mood just changes. Peterson leans into his chair, tilts his head, and stares directly at the host, and calls him out for what he's trying to do. The topic of discussion in that interview was masculinity, and about halfway through it, Jordan noticed how the host was trying to corner him and accuse him of misbehaving. We're not going to lie, it felt like the young gentleman was about to cry his eyes out when the internet dad went off on him for playing a really dirty game. This goes without saying, never try to outsmart Jordan Peterson. Moving on, not okay. We've all had this moment at some point in our life. It's like when you're really passionate about something and believe it with every shred of your existence, but as soon as someone destroys that belief or whatever, you just go into a state of panic. It's embarrassing, but imagine having your belief deconstructed bit by bit by none other than Professor Jordan Peterson. Now, we gotta give credit to this kid for actually being able to finish what he started. If we were in his position and Professor P called us out after every single sentence, we'd just run away. Also, one thing we really love about Dr. Jordan is his ability to suggest what he's saying without any emotion or emphasis on body language whatsoever. He's always calm. We've literally seen interviews with multiple people attacking him all at once, and he doesn't even break a sweat. But anyway, let's get back to what happened. So he's asking questions and it's all going civil, right? But then this kid quotes something that Jordan Peterson has never said before in his life. Internet dad corrects him, to which the kid says, okay. All you hear from Peterson is a loud and angry, not okay. 2 minutes later, and the kid says something Jordan has never said again, to which he gets an even louder, not okay. It wasn't exactly the angriest of moments, but you could tell he's frustrated because the guy asking the questions was building his argument on things he's never even said. He also tries to make a clever comparison by arguing there's a difference between what Peterson and activists have to say. And you could tell that that's almost his little moment of eureka. He's finally got him. He's cornered the king of psychology. So, how does Peterson respond? I'm not an activist. Simple, lethal, and effective. Up next, read more. This interview gave us a lot of golden moments, to be honest. It felt like Jordan Peterson was in a different mood altogether for this one. He was absolutely brutal and didn't let the host get away with anything. And before we tell you more about it, we'd like to to share a small observation here. Have you noticed how everyone goes into shock when Peterson uses facts and logic to tackle the argument? It's not rocket science, guys. Look it up someday. But anyway, back to the infamous interview of Dr. P shutting down this poor reporter multiple times. The best comeback, and the one we enjoyed most, was when Jordan very subtly told the host to try reading a bit more before trying to be smart with him. Apparently, she was talking about how a group of certain people really enjoyed his work and how she's not a part of them. Peterson replies to that by saying they didn't enjoy his work, to which Helen Lewis, the host, says she's read a lot online that indicates they have indeed enjoyed Peterson's work. And before she can even finish her sentence, the professor wrecks her with just 2 words: read more. Coming up, so you're saying? If you're a fan of the professor, then we're 100% sure you've seen this one. It's his famous interview on 4 News on the pay-wage gap between men and women. Jordan Peterson ate the poor host alive. All she did was try to put words in his mouth or suggest he's trying to say something when he's clearly not saying it. Honestly speaking, we didn't really count how many times she said it, but if we had to guess, it had to be more than 20 times. Every single time Dr. P suggested something straight out of research, the host would just say, "So you're saying?" Credit to Jordan though, the ability to stay cool for so long while someone else tries to put words in your mouth for almost half an hour is just incredible. Also, if you're not that familiar with Peterson, this is probably the first video you should watch. It really gives you an insight on just how intellectual and organized he is. And apart from that, you'll also get to witness one of the greatest comebacks in News 4 history. In the whole interview, the host has just one goal: to prove what Peterson is saying are his words and not research. But check this. When he finally does share an opinion of his, the interviewer quickly reverts to the "who are you to say that?" a clinical psychologist. Poor Kathy got shut down in a second. A special shout out to Kathy Newman for conducting that interview. So many memes and funny videos came out of it. Finally, reality hits really hard. Now, we know this is a video about Peterson's angriest moments and best comebacks, but it's important we clear the air. We're no experts on the subject, and we think regardless of gender, life is hard for everyone. And yeah, there might be some things one gender experiences more than the other, but as soon as we realize that the debate is not men versus women, then we've already solved half of the problem. And that's often what Jordan is always trying to get at. He's always trying to educate people, and it's not as simple as it seems. It's not as if one gender is oppressive and the other isn't. It's the fact that people aren't willing to discuss the real issues at hand to actually reach a conclusion and move towards a solution. But if you try to get in a fact war with Professor P, prepare to be obliterated. Jordan Peterson has not once said anything negative about any gender. It's always been him versus the problem of the narrative. But when one reporter decided to get ahead of herself and lay down some facts, JP destroyed her. He talked about how most people in prison are men. Most people who commit suicide are men. Most people on the streets are men. Most victims of violent crimes are men. Most people who died in wars are men. People who do worse in school are men. And he just goes on and on, leaving the reporter absolutely speechless. That's probably our most favorite comeback of his of all time. Anyway, that's it from our side, folks. So what was Jordan's angriest moment according to you? And did we miss a really cheeky comeback of his? Let us know in the comments below. Remember, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more entertaining content in the future. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.